Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a tool that tackles a huge challenge in the world of enterprise software. And that challenge is getting all these different systems to just speak the same language, simply and effectively.
All right, so let's get right into it. First up, what's the actual problem we're trying to solve here? Well, every single time you click a button inside a big business application, there's this whole other world of stuff happening behind the scenes, completely out of sight. So check this out. What you're looking at is basically a map of what happens when a company's most important systems need to talk to each other. We're talking about things like its warehouse management system, that's what tracks all the physical stuff, and its core S/4HANA platform, which is kind of like the financial brain of the whole operation. All this complexity just to manage something as basic as inventory. And every single one of those connections, every arrow you see, that's a point where things can go wrong. See, the real trick here is making sure that what one system says is exactly what the other system understands. No lost data, no misinterpretations. It has to be perfect. And that leads us straight to this core idea of, well, data mapping. Really, when you boil it all down, it's about teaching these different systems to speak the same language. It's like being a universal translator for software.
Yeah, exactly. Think of it like you're creating a custom dictionary. This dictionary is the critical bridge that lets all this different software, each built with its own unique rules and data structures, work together like they were designed as one single seamless system from the start. And you know what's wild? The differences can be tiny, almost deceptively simple. For instance, one system might write a date with hyphens, right? But the other system, the target system, it needs that same date as just a continuous string of numbers. It seems like a small thing, but getting that wrong, it can completely wreck an entire transaction. It's that critical. So this really gets to the heart of the problem for any big company, right? How in the world do you manage thousands, literally thousands of these little translations? How do you keep up with the demand for them without every single tiny change turning into this massive, super expensive IT project? Okay, and that is where this tool enters the picture. The solution is the SAP Ariba Cloud Integration Gateway Mapping Tool, or as most people call it, CIG. It was built with really just one big idea in mind, putting the power of this data translation right into the hands of the person who needs it most, the user.
So what's it built on? 3 core principles. First up, simple. The whole idea is to make this process intuitive, not some crazy technical puzzle you have to solve. Next, self-service. I mean, to deal with the sheer volume of customizations needed, you have to empower the business users to make the changes themselves. And finally, speed. The goal here is to just slash the entire timeline, from the moment you think of a map to the second it goes live. So what does that mean for you? Well, this tool gives buyers direct hands-on control over their data flow. You can create your own maps, you can manage all the different versions, test everything before it goes live, and you can even do a visual side-by-side comparison to see exactly what your custom map is doing differently from the standard one. Okay, so that's the big picture, but what does this actually look like when you're using it? Let's jump into a few of the key functions that let you, really shape your data so it fits its destination perfectly. Let's start with something that sounds simple but is absolutely vital, the normalized function. You know how a stray space in a data field can cause all sorts of bizarre errors downstream? Well, this is a simple one-click tool that just gets rid of them. It cleans everything up, making sure your data is consistent and accurate. And remember that date problem we talked about earlier? Well, here's the fix. A simple formatting rule can instantly switch the date to the exact format that the other system needs. No code, just a rule. But it gets smarter than that. The tool also handles conditional logic. The choose when function, it's basically a simple if this, then that statement for your data. It can check if a piece of data exists in one field. If it's there, great, it uses it. But if it's not there, it'll automatically grab the data from a backup field you specified. This makes your data flows way more resilient and honestly, a lot more intelligent, and it goes way beyond the basics. There are more powerful functions for really complex stuff. Concatenate, for example, lets you join separate fields, like taking a first name field and a last name field and smushing them together into one full name field. Substring is cool.
It lets you pull out just a specific piece of a longer string of text, say grabbing a 3-digit code from the middle of a long product ID. And then you have really powerful stuff like create node or map extrinsics, which means you can actually build entirely new data elements that didn't even exist in the original source. It gives you like total control over the final output.
So what's the big takeaway here? I think the most crucial point is understanding what this shift to self-service really means for a business. Because it's not just a new feature, right? It's a totally new way of working.
Yeah, this quote from the documentation just nails it. The idea that the buyer can edit and create their own mapping customizations, that's huge. What's happening is that control is moving away from a centralized and, let's be honest, often overwhelmed IT team. It's moving to the business users, the people who actually understand the data and what it's for. And the results? I mean, they kind of speak for themselves. Companies are seeing way shorter wait times for changes. Project speeds are going up. And maybe the most important part, accuracy goes up too. Why? Because the experts, the people who are closest to the data, are the ones building the maps.
And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. When you empower your users to build these fundamental data bridges themselves, the things that connect their entire digital world, you free up an incredible amount of technical brainpower. So it really makes you wonder, right? With that newfound freedom, what are the bigger, more complex problems we're all going to build solutions for next?